This is part 2 of Bonding with Fearful Equids. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, you'll find the link in the description of this video. I encourage you to watch that video first before you move on to this one. Once your animal is coming within approximately arm's reach of you, you can begin teaching them targeting. Targeting is a behavior in which the animal touches a part of their body to a specific target. With fearful equids, I usually start out with just my hand, but you can try using an object instead if you prefer. Continuing with the same training you were doing before, you're now going to add holding out your hand for your animal to touch. They don't have to be so close that they can touch you or you can touch them, but they at least have to be close enough to focus on your outstretched hand. Now, when you first begin, depending on how fearful your animal is, it's likely that they're not going to come close enough to actually touch your hand, and that's okay. You're going to start by presenting your hand to your animal and marking for any engagement they offer. So if your animal stretches out their neck and tries to sniff from a distance, you're going to mark that behavior and reinforce, instead of waiting for them to come all the way to your hand and touch it. For now, you're still reinforcing your animal the same way you did in the previous video, with food either on the ground or food in a bucket on the ground. And you're walking away to give them space to be comfortable enough to eat. As in part 1, though your animal may start out with just stretching out their neck towards your hand from a distance, as their confidence grows, they'll likely take a few steps towards you. Each time your animal offers more behavior, you're going to mark for that new behavior and reinforce. So if you started out marking just for your animal stretching out their neck towards you, and your animal is now taking a step towards you, you're going to mark for the step and no longer mark for just stretching out their neck. If you feel that your animal is not offering more behavior on their own, you can try delaying your mark for a bit to give them a chance to offer more. Remember, as in the training from the previous video, you're not encouraging your animal to come to you or demanding that they come to you. All of this is waiting for the animal to offer the behavior that you're looking for. Your job is just to wait and reinforce. Throughout this process, there's a fine line between asking for too much from your animal and not asking enough. If you ask for too much, your animal may get nervous and decide they don't want to participate. But if you don't ask for enough, then your animal may get stuck and think that what they're doing now is all that you want from them. To avoid creating this glass ceiling or having your animal give up, be prepared to ask for a little more or even a little less during each repetition, based on what happened the repetition before. When your animal finally gets close enough to touch your hand, the first touch often causes a big setback in criteria. This is normal and is to be expected, so when this happens, just start from where they are and rebuild their confidence back up to touching. Another thing that you might notice when your animal starts touching your hand is that they may get a little nippy. This is also normal, as your animal is experiencing considerable conflict. On the one hand, they want the reinforcement, but on the other, they're still anxious and fearful. It's important that you do not react to your animal's nippy behavior or punish it in any way. This is normal behavior due to the conflict your animal is experiencing and will subside as their confidence and trust in you grows. If you punish the behavior, you risk a huge setback in criteria and loss of trust between you and your animal. The ultimate goal of this behavior is for your animal to approach you and bump your hand with their nose with confidence. I consider the behavior a success when the animal can stand in a neutral position to bump my hand instead of stretching out their body and neck to touch my hand from a distance, ready to jump back at any moment. Depending on how your animal progresses, you might consider trying to hold the bucket to offer their reinforcement or even hand feed them. Once they're eating out of your hand and targeting with confidence, it's not necessary to walk away from them after each repetition. But if at any point they show signs of conflict or anxiety, walking away can help relieve that stress. When you've got a solid nose-to-hand target, it's time to move on to cheek targeting and generalizing touch to your animal's face and neck. This process will be covered in Part 3 of Bonding with Fearful Equids. If you need any help with this training, I do offer video call coaching services, which you can sign up for on my website at www.essentialequinetraining.com.